Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. It is a brand new episode of Snaps, your favorite daily college football podcast. If you're listening on, through like Apple or Spotify or whatever, and what I'm about to say doesn't really matter if that's how you listen every day. Just continue to do so, rate, review, and share with your friends. If you're used to hanging out with us at youtube.com/@volume snaps, we love hanging out live. We're continuing to have a bit of technical issues. Obviously, we're going to get this all hammered out during the summer. So that come fall time, we're going to be back at, well, whatever. We'll be back sooner in the fall live. All I'm saying is today, another pre-recorded episode, but youtube.com/@volume snaps. The episode will still live there. Segments will. Like it, subscribe it, share with your friends. Please help us to grow the show if you enjoy it. I am one of your hosts, T-Bob Hebert, and I'm joined as always by Aaron Murray, QB1. How we feeling, Aaron?
Yo, what's up? Happy Monday to everyone. Excited for next week, SEC
Yeah,
Media
man.
Day. Bob and I will be in person shooting some content, which is always great. So be on the lookout for that next week. Continue to share, subscribe, all the stuff T-Bob said, but just a week closer. Plain and simple, a week closer to football, man. And I think after next week, it's going to feel even more like football season after we're in Nashville for a few days.
Okay. I thought, you kind of landed the plane there. I thought you were going to say, and after next week, it's going to feel even closer. And I was going to say, well, yeah, Aaron, that is how time tends to work. But I feel you. After we get lubed up with a little SEC Media Day, we're going to be ready to roll. I've been trying to come up with content ideas for next week. All I've got so far is I really want to do the Rolling Bar show, if we could somehow work that out. And I'm cutting a pair of jeans into jorts, and I want to wear a cowboy hat, cowboy boots, and some jorts. That's about as far as going. Ooh, okay, here's off the top of the head brainstorm. We could do a Northwestern thing where we like put some masks on and we just go around, we hold down strangers in the street and start dry humping them. It's a little man on the street type of action.
Too soon? Too soon?
It is a bit too soon because we're not going to talk about Northwestern until the end of the show, Aaron. So it's a great call. Wait around till the end if you want to hear my opinions there. We're going to start talking underdogs. Not the dog that you've become. Maybe at a time UGA was. Now y'all are the top dogs. And although I appear to be the only voice in media who's telling y'all the truth, I don't know if you're going to love to hear this, Aaron. In the college football playoff era, there has been one preseason favorite that has gone on to win the national championship, and that was 2017 Bama. They were plus 250. Now, to be fair, UGA sitting pretty, an even bigger favorite right now at plus 220. But as I've told you plenty of times before, I don't know if UGA fans have been paying attention to the news, and I don't want to, my goal is not to make UGA fans scared. Again, honesty is something that guides every action that I take. But word on the street is your boy Stetson Bennett is tearing up NFL camp. Yeah. And all you Bulldog fans are going to come. Well, you're going to see, but I'm telling you two already, you have to accept that even though you convinced yourself you're winning games in spite of Stetson Bennett, you are winning games because of Stetson Bennett. And there's just no guarantee that Carson Beck's that guy. Okay. I mean, the Rams are out here trying to trade Matt Stafford. Now, it probably has to do with $59 million, but still, word on the street, it's Stetson's balling. So can you replace him? Monken? Maybe, but probably not. We've never seen three in a row. We've only seen one other favorite win it. So today, we're going to do some underdogs.
First off,
Aaron,
stop
I'll allow
saying
you
we've never
first.
seen three in a row. We have seen three in a row, T-Bob. It just hasn't been through the 30s. Like, you have to stop saying that. It has been done before. It has. It has. It's been 90 years, but it has been done. I don't give a damn when it was done. It was still done.
I don't count records pre-integration or pre-major World War II. It just doesn't.
Or COVID or the COVID year.
Or absolutely don't count the COVID year. Don't even start on that. I went off again during a commercial break with the fellas this morning on my morning show. And the more and more, like, okay, we're going to talk Northwestern. Look at how good Northwestern was COVID year, and then look at the 2 years surrounding it. COVID was a bullshit year of football. Nothing should count. from 2020, or it should have a giant asterisk next to it, but whatever. So if we know then, if we hear on snaps, accept that it's fact that Georgia will not win another national championship, well, where do we put our money then? What's the play? And we came up with a little game here. We're going to choose two realistic underdogs, I would say, where they got a pretty good shot, maybe look for some value. And then we're going to choose two true dark horse long shots, or maybe you're going to get some value as well. So, Aaron, I allowed you first pick, and thus I will allow you to start us off. What is one of your realistic underdogs to win the Natty here?
I got to go with USC, the Trojan boys out west. Plus, I think we're at 1,600 right now is what we got them at. The reigning Heisman Trophy winner in his third season in this offense, which has been one of the best offenses under Lincoln Riley for 8-9 years now. So they're going to put up stupid stats. They filled every single hole they need to fill when it comes to guys they lost last season. They went and got a running back. They went and got a top receiver. They got talent at those positions already. They did a great job recruiting. Got, once again, a very talented offensive line. I know you loved the offensive line last year. I think they'll be just as good this year. Offense is going to be great. They're going to score 40 points per game. There's no doubt in my mind they're not going to do that. The focus was defense. Can you get better? They went and got 4 or 5 guys in the defensive line from across the country to transfer in. They got guys in the secondary at the linebacker position. They filled those holes. Can those guys come in there and plug in and be day one starters? I think they're good enough to do that. They improved on that side of the football, and it's not like they have to get better. Let me rephrase. They have to get better. They don't need to get 5, 6, 7 points per game better. I just need them to get 3 points per game better. If they can do that,
to win a natty, you don't think they need to be a top 25 defense?
Nope, I don't think they need
top 30.
With that offense, they do not need to be a top team. Ohio State last year was not a top defense. They were a receiver away from being in the national championship and probably smoking TCU. A receiver away. Let's be honest. They're a receiver away from staying healthy in that game versus Georgia, from being in the national championship and winning the national championship. Why? Because they had an elite quarterback and they had an elite receiver, and an elite offense. They'll be fine. They'll be fine. So I think they could be better on defense, and I think they'll be just as good, if not better, on offense if Caleb Williams, knock on wood, stays healthy. So I love USC. I love their chances. They got a couple hard games on the road this year. They're at Notre Dame, which is always going to be a tough one. And then they're at Oregon, Oregon I'm going to be talking about here in a little bit, is a great team heading into this season as well. You get Utah at home. That's been the big bugaboo for them. Can they take care of business? We'll see how healthy Cam Rising is this season coming off the injury. But I'm sipping the Kool-Aid, man. This is USC's year to get back going again and legitimately compete for national championship.
To be fair, that is a team that jumped off the screen to me as well. Plus 1,600 just feels good when you have the best quarterback in the game of football. But what else? I think I'm a little chalky with this next one. Now, not full chalk, right? Alabama's second best odd, Ohio State's third. I actually don't believe in either of those teams. But then right there at number 4, you're going to tell me I get Michigan plus 1,000? A Michigan team that returns J.J. McCarthy again, this time with a full offseason, knowing he is the guy that started me. We've had these Wolverine conversations before. A Michigan team that just beat the fuck out of Ohio State the last couple of years. And I mean, like, not even just score-wise, but, like, beat them like they were physically inferior children, as an adult would to a misbehaving child in the 50s when that thing was allowed. That type of behavior, I should say. They have the 5th most returning production in the entire country. They return over 80% of their offensive production, 78% of their defensive production. Remember, 80% is that threshold where a team gets markedly better. They have the beat UGA period. So they're making no bones about it. Like, their goals are bigger. Like, their goals are to lift a trophy. We all know what ended up happening with the beat Ohio State period. Well, they're doing just that. So yeah, man. I mean, I don't know why. I guess I do know why Michigan's behind Alabama and Ohio State. I mean, obviously you just trust Nick Saban and you see the recruiting. And then as far as Ohio State goes, they constantly feel a bit more dynamic. But even though I know with their replacement quarterback, they'll probably still throw like 40 touchdowns, I just feel so much better about the solidity, the direction, and all the returning pieces for the Michigan Wolverines. So Michigan plus 1,000, easy. I love as a realistic pick. This next one I didn't love, but I kind of talked myself into. and it's Clemson plus 1,600. Now, I know it's very fashionable to hate on Clemson, and I understand all the reasons why. And I love making fun of Dabo as much as the next person. I mean, the name, image, and likeness quote, talking about Jesus was righteous gemstones level of good. So I get it all. Okay. But what I also see is, again, a guy who's done it before in Dabo a couple of times. I see a 5-star quarterback in Caleb Klubnik, who I believe was in a shitty offense. Now, DJ Uiagalelei has told us as much, even if he maybe has a bit of a motive to say so. They hired Garrett Riley, which I'm in love with that Garrett Riley hire. And as we're going to see when I get to a major underdogs, the ACC's weak, right? So, like, if you're looking for underdogs to win championships, a great place to start is which conference feels most winnable, because by doing that, you set yourself up to make the playoff. And if Clemson beats Florida State, I mean, I think they got maybe like one other game that could be tough. So yeah, give me Clemson plus 1,600 with Garrett Riley, Lincoln Riley's brother.
No. That ain't happening. They don't got a quarterback, man. I was at a engagement party this weekend, and some drunk Clemson fan came up to my face talking mad shit about how Clemson's going to dunk on everyone, then rolled into a beating Georgia to start next season off. I'm like,
yes.
First off, kid, back up 2 steps, take a deep breath. Y'all ain't that good this year, so it ain't gonna happen. First off, all right. Why it's not gonna happen?
Wait. So your reasoning why it's not gonna happen is because a drunk Clemson fan accosted you at a wedding and you had to beat him off?
No, why is because they don't have a quarterback or receivers. That's why they're not.
I just said Caleb Klubnik, former 5-star.
They don't have a quarterback. They don't have a quarterback or receivers this year. That's why they're not going to win it. And the other reason why they're not going to win it is because Florida State is the better football team heading into the season. You got the quarterback in Georgia. Travis was the hottest quarterbacks to finish the season off last year. You got receivers. You got running backs. You got offense line. The entire offense returns. Plus, the entire defense also returns.
Yeah,
20
they're
points
number one.
Given up per game last year. They return that star power on the defense side of the football. This team doesn't have a weakness. Elite offense, a quarterback who gained a ton of confidence last year. You hope he carries it over this year. A defense that's going to be one of the best defenses in the country heading into the season, and a coach who's now in his 4th season. You got the culture built as well. At plus, I think 2,500 right now.
Yeah,
I love Florida State. I think Florida State's right in. I think Florida State wins the ACC. Florida State's going to be one of the final 4 teams in there. And if Jordan Travis continues to progress the way he progressed last year, they are one of the most complete teams in college football. There's really not a hole to pick when it comes to the Seminoles heading to the season.
To be fair,
other than their coach hasn't won a national championship, or their coach hasn't won this or won that.
What coach has won a natty though?
That's it. That's it though.
I would say this, to be fair, if I'm being objective, I like Florida State plus 2,500 way better than Clemson plus 1,600. Not to say that I like Florida State more than Clemson to win it, but at those odds, I would take FSU. All right, now let's talk 2 major underdogs. Aaron, start us off.
All right, 2 major underdogs for me. First, I'm going to say in the Pac-12, I just love this conference this year.
Yeah,
is Oregon, and I mentioned it earlier. USC has to go on the road to Eugene, which is one of the most daunting places to play a football game in America. End of the season, you got Bo Nix, who I've loved Bo Nix for a long time. Loved him at Auburn. Didn't get enough credit for what he did with complete crap around him. Was tremendous last year as a starting quarterback year 1. Has played a lot of football as a dynamic thrower and runner. He's got his running backs back. He's got his receivers back. They also have a great amount of guys back on the defense side of the football. There's, just like I talked about with Florida State, there's not a lot of holes to pick when you look at Oregon heading into this season. And Bo Nix gives me a lot of confidence as well. So I like Oregon right now. I think they're mid 3,000s, somewhere around there. I think plus 3,500. I think it's a great value pick with a quarterback with as much experience as he does, with a talent around him, and they get USC at home.
I fucking love Dan Lanning ever since I saw that tattoo he got on his love handle. I mean, just an all-time stoner bro tat. Good job, Dan. I'll go. Okay, I'm gonna be kind of similar. I'm gonna go Pac-12, and I'm gonna go with my guy, Michael Penix Jr. and Kalen DeBoer. More talk on Washington coming tomorrow, so I'm not gonna do it too hard here, but plus 3,500, 11-2. Last year. Okay, let's remember that 11 wins for the Huskies last year. Now, another year of Penix. They returned the best receiving core in the entire nation. two sophomores that as sophomores, now they'll be juniors, but as sophomores had over 75 catches, over 1,000 yards, and over 7 touchdowns apiece. Oh, and the third leading receiver was a freshman. Okay, everybody's back. I like getting who do they have at home? That's good. They gotta go on the road to USC. I hate that. On the road to Oregon State, hate that. But they do get Oregon at home. Okay, so whatever, probably not gonna happen. But if you got to take a flyer, I'll always go with the guy who I think is the best quarterback, and I think Michael Penix Jr. is even better than your boy Bo Nix. So let's go now for my major underdog here to win it all. Y'all are going to accuse me of being a flip-flopper, of talking out of both sides of my mouth. And you know, I will take these arrows as I always do in stride with the magnanimity and august nature of one who is above such small opinions and small thoughts, because I kind of love this to win the natty now. The Oklahoma Sooners at plus 6,000. That's a massive number. But when you look at Oklahoma's schedule, it's easy. I mean, if they overcome Texas, like Texas, they should win every other game. They are going to be significantly more talented than every single team that they play, save for Texas. And you know how I feel about Texas. Like Texas and Sark are just as bad, if not worse. And if, it's a big if, but if Brent Venables figures out the defense like he should, because that is his background, if he does, well, then watch out. And I also think Dylan Gabriel remains a very big if, but like I could see a world where Dylan Gabriel becomes very good. But the point is, once again, we check the boxes, okay? You got a returning quarterback, which I like as an element here. You got a school that has more championships and high, you know, the top 5 program of all time. You got an easy conference where you should be better than every single team that you play. And I've been Brent Venables hater number 1. But like I've constantly said, it's just because what he's shown me, right? Like on the recruiting trail, I've already had to eat crow. I thought Venables would be a shitty recruiter. He is killing. He got another 5-star tight end yesterday. We'll talk about Oklahoma recruiting tomorrow. So if he's already proved me wrong there, if he proves me wrong as a game day head coach, well, then watch out now. You used to be on Oklahoma before you joined the Texas hive mind. Watch out now. Plus 6,000, not a bad little $20 see what happens play.
This one's a little wild for me, but I'm gonna go plus 5,000 for my big boy here. And I'm gonna go with the Aggies. They have the talent. I mean, at the end of the day, it starts with we always say the Jimmies and Joes, man. It starts with the players. Like A&M has the players. They've beat Alabama 2 years ago. They were within 2 yards of beating Alabama again last year. So like they had the talent to go toe to toe with Bama, which means they have the talent to go toe to toe with anyone. They beat the shit out of your Tigers last year too. So like I don't think there's a question of do they got the guys on the team to make a major impact? They do. And I finally think they have a quarterback. Connor Wegman at quarterback right now. Big fan of him. You got Anias back. You got another top receiver back as well.
You got your whole line back.
You got your whole line back. You got the entire defense back pretty much. They return probably some of the most returning starting talent from last year than anyone else in the country, which was just obviously they underperformed, especially on offense. They underperformed on the offense side of the football. So you hope with the new offensive scheme, a little bit of a new offensive mindset, Jimbo takes a little bit of backseat. They evolve on that side of the football with Connor Wegman at quarterback in his second year, that you see a massive jump in improvement on offense. So, and I think they can. I do. I think they can take. When I look at USC, the Southern Cap, elite offense needs to get a little bit better on defense. I think A&M's the reverse. Elite defense, really, really good defense, and an offense that just needs to get a little bit better to see a major jump in production. And I think they have the weapons on offense to be able to take a pretty big jump on that side of the football when it comes to points per game. So I kind of like A&M at that plus 5,000 to make some noise.
So to your point, Aaron, A&M 7th in the country, returning 80% production. Remember, 80% is the benchmark where teams tend to take a big leap, and 82% on offense alone, along with 77 out of it. So yeah, okay, not a bad play. Although, how interesting, Aaron, you chose A&M over Texas. Why is that? If I was going to ask you, Brian Winters, what? If both would have checked the box for underdogs, Why did you choose little brother?
Honestly, because I didn't see Texas in the sheet that was sent to us. That's probably why.
Okay. Yeah. Texas plus 2,500. That's bullshit, dude.
Well, it's not high enough. Our threshold
Um,
was 3,000. That's why.
yeah.
You made the
Or
rules.
it's
I'm just
because
playing by the
you
rules.
know.
I'm just playing by the rules, T-Bob. You said for the major ones had to be over plus 3,000. So,
Well,
yeah,
what are you okay? Are you having a
yeah.
stroke? Are you okay? I'm sorry, guys. Aaron seemed to be gagging
I'm
on
better.
something. I don't see Kirby anywhere in the room. We're on Zoom right now. Kirby, he's probably too short. Kirby, stand up. Stand up. Wait, there he is. Wow. Aaron, I'm surprised. Impressive. Start calling you Throatzilla. Big 12 media voted on their preseason poll, and Aaron, I'm sure this will make you very happy. It looks like your Texas Longhorns, out of 67 media votes, this was crazy. So Big 12 voted their preseason poll for how the Big 12 is going to finish, and I'm not surprised that Texas won. When we break down the votes, I am shocked at how heavy the opinion is that Texas, out of 67 votes, the Texas Longhorns getting 41 to win the conference. Kansas State coming second with 14. Love a little respect there. Good job. Then Oklahoma, just 4 votes. Texas Tech, just 4 votes. TCU, who just played for Natty, only gets 3, and then nobody else got 1.
Where's your Kansas? Where's your Jayhawks at?
Fucking 9th, because these nerds don't know football. They've never even heard of Jalen Daniels, obviously. I mean, again, I'm a slave to truth. I know no other way, so I can't sit here and lie like all of you Sark boys can, just because you hope that he's going to give you access one day if he ever becomes nationally relevant. But Texas, 41 first place votes. I think, again, I'm not even going to talk about how it's wrong, because maybe I'm wrong, but add this to the Mount fucking Everest of evidence that we have that Steve Sarkisian must do good this year. If Steve Sarkisian does not do good this year, it's a travesty, a joke, and you Texas fans should not be accepting of it. And I don't mean, I mean 11, I mean 12 wins. I mean, make a playoff.
Yeah, I hope you're making a full PowerPoint presentation to give the Texas fans once the season ends.
I am.
This is what you were inherited, and this is what was done with it with Steve Sarkisian as your head coach. So,
I mean, I've already compared the Tom Herman. I think we've got the Athletics computer models, ESPN's computer models, returning production models. All the computers love him, all the humans love him. You got the media now loving him. Okay, your turn, Texas. Win something.
Yeah. Oh, I'm with you, man. This is put up or shut up for Sark. I think he's gonna put up. I'm one of those media members that just feels like they are too good and too big in a shitty conference to fail this year. And if they do to what you're hoping is going to happen, then yes, a conversation needs to happen at the end of the season. But it's just, you can't tell me when you look, just strip away Sark, strip away Texas, which I know it's hard to do. And you just look at the players, which this is what it comes down to.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at the players, there is a major gap between Texas and Oklahoma and everyone else.
How's it different from last year? How's it different from last year? There was a major gap then as well. Remember, no other Big 12 team was in the top 15
the difference, what the difference is,
yeah,
Quinn Ewers has had a year to mature. Everyone wants to give him shit, including me. I gave him shit last year a little bit. He was a freshman quarterback. When you take the biggest jumps from freshman to sophomore year, he will make a jump.
He's the oldest fucking freshman quarterback I've ever seen. How many seasons of football did he have?
No, he isn't. The first season was a money grab. It was a money grab to go to OSU, Ohio State, when he was only 17 years old. He got paid. He came back home. A true freshman year was last year.
Oh,
true freshman.
How convenient. What convenient logic gymnastics. You just, hey, more like Quinn.
Even better than. He's a junior in your mind. Even better for him then.
There you go.
So there you go. Second year of legitimately playing football. I'll say that.
More like
he
Quinn.
Will be better. They got talent receiver. Isaiah Nayor. They needed, they also didn't have they didn't have a legitimate number 2 receiver last year. Whittingham was he was okay. He put up good sets, wasn't an electric receiver. Isaiah Nayor is a legitimate number 2 receiver that's going to take a lot of pressure off the number 1.
You're just gonna ignore Bijan Robinson being gone. This doesn't matter. Texas offensive first
They
rounder
got like an
selected since
elite. They
Vince
got
Young.
an elite 5-star. They'll be fine.
Yeah, they've had plenty of elite 5-stars, and guess what? None of them got drafted in the first round. You're not just gonna replace Bijan Robinson. More like Quinn Ewers. That's the joke I've been trying to get out for 5 minutes now. Also, West Virginia finishes bottom 12, absolute last. They finished 14th in the Big 12 in terms of media voting. Fire Neil Brown today. I would pre-fire him before the season just to give the boys some juice. I guess they can't because of buyouts and whatnot. So go back to your Bulldogs, Aaron. If they are going to win yet another national championship, which I don't think they're going to be able to, they're probably going to do it with a pretty similar blueprint, if you will. You've done some deep diving on this UJ roster. It's recruiting. How Kirby, because remember, we asked a question the other day, like, if you dropped Kirby Smart into X program, would you win a national championship? I think you would at about 15 different schools. So this blueprint has a lot of value. Aaron, what is the blueprint that Kirby Smart's employing here to have the success?
Well, first off, remember Alabama. So I'm on 247, 24/7, whatever you want to call it. A&M had total points 333.13 2 years ago. Last year, Alabama was at 327.65.
Damn.
So far this year, so this recruiting class heading in for 2024, Georgia has 26 commits at 311 points. So easily the number one team right now when it comes to recruiting for next year, and they're just on an absolute tear. But when you really look at it, I tweeted about this the other day, which gets us to the discussion of where is football won nowadays. And I'll say this. Until we start putting flags on these kids and just saying, sorry, we're not going to tackle anymore, the game of football is still won in the trenches. This is a credit to you, T-Bob, and your big boys, big uglies up front. Right. The game is still played at the line of scrimmage. And you look at the guy who just won 2 national championships, where is he putting an emphasis on this offseason? Because it's not like Georgia doesn't have elite offensive play right now, offensive line play or defensive line play. They have guys on both offense and defensive line that are going to be picked in the first round of the draft next year and the year after that. But he continues to go out there and recruit offensive linemen and defensive linemen. 6 offensive linemen that range anywhere from 6'6" to 6'8", and 5 defensive linemen. 11 of their guys committed so far in this class come at the offensive line and defensive line positions. So you want to win and you want to learn from the best in the game right now, recruit big motherfuckers at the offensive line and defensive line. That's still how you win football games. If you dominate the line of scrimmage and you beat them up, you're going to win.
Isn't it funny, man, how I've been thinking a lot about True Detective lately. We did an HBO show ranking the other day, and I mean, True Detective season 1 remains just a masterpiece of television. Season 2 sucked, which is disappointing because I love the cast. Season 3 was all right. I think they got a little bit exposition-y at the end, which kind of ruined it a bit. But season 1's incredible, right? What does Russ Cole tell us? Time's a flat circle. Like, think about the evolution of football. Everything has changed. College kids are getting paid now. Spread offenses are no longer niche. They're the soup du jour. Like, everything has changed. If you were to go in a time machine back to when Minnesota was 3-peat champions, people would think that you were watching fucking aliens play a different sport. That's how much it changed. But except that at its core, like you're saying, when you strip away the fluff, all the fancy finesse, at the end of the day, it remains an inherently physical game, right? The song remains the same. Time is a flat circle. It's still won by just having, like you said, the biggest and baddest motherfuckers on the line, because although it's not the sexiest, although they cannot take the top off of a defense, if you can't, it's like a good foundation to a building, Aaron, right? When you look at like a beautiful cathedral, you're never looking at the bottom right and being like, look at that cornerstone. That's a beautiful cornerstone. You're like, whoa, look at the filigree, and look at like the crazy friezes and the altars and everything and all the little calligraphic work and the angels and the demons. But what's it all built on? a fucking solid foundation. If there's cracks in the foundations, the whole thing comes fumbling down. So you can keep your fancy gargoyle wide receivers and your beautiful pulpit of a running back. I just want solid I don't know if limestone's a good rock or not. Solid marble foundation. That's exactly what the Bulldogs understand. And it reminds me a lot of what Nick Saban did back in the early 2000s when he made LSU into a monster. I mean, that's how he did it, was getting there's still more legendary D linemen from that era than any era in LSU history. I'm pretty sure there's more NFL O linemen from that era than any era in subsequent history. So yeah, man, it's I guess. But here's the problem:
how many guys have been drafted off Georgia the past 2 years
from
the offensive defensive line. Been more at that position than any other position.
So here's the problem with that. This is all very obvious. So why can't other people do it? You know, like that's the actual secret sauce. It's not like that's the actual thing to try to understand.
It's the perception of it's the perception of the identity of their team. Like I think Michigan, I think Georgia, I think big boys that can move people and dominate the line of scrimmage. I think Ohio State. I think USC. I think Clemson. I think offense, soft, receivers.
Like fancy lads.
Yeah, the fancy lads. So like as a recruit, you take that into account. Like where is the most successful offensive line and defensive line play been? It's been at Michigan. It's been at Georgia. It's been here. It's been there. It hasn't been at these schools. They take that into account. They want to go to a place that has a rich tradition of kicking ass at the line of scrimmage and then getting drafted to the NFL. Like if I'm an offensive lineman, what does Ohio State really get me juiced about? Like I think Ohio State, spread offense, throwing the football. I don't think offensive line play. I'd go to Michigan. That's why Michigan's had success. They've gone into Ohio and said, hey, you big boys, do you want to play this soft brand of football or you want to come to Michigan and be a bunch of badasses? Well, we'd go to Michigan. They've taken those dudes, have flipped the switch, and now are playing bully ball against Ohio State.
I think that's a definite element of it. And maybe the other piece is just Kirby's better at landing those guys because Kirby's better at landing all guys. Right. Yeah, but then you look at like in Alabama, and that's where I get confused because Alabama's still stacked talent at that position. And yet they've lost their intimidation factor. Like, I don't know how it's possible. They still have all the talent, but the offensive line has been nothing to write home about the last couple of years. Like Bryce Young had to bail them out. It seemed like constantly for the last 2 seasons. So I don't know exactly how he does it, but I don't like hearing it because I hate that Georgia looks like they're going to stay very good for a long time. But there you go. No, fuck me. And finally, we arrive at what you'll all have been waiting for, and that is the Northwestern football hazing scandal. So in case you missed it, the Northwestern student newspaper was contacted by a whistleblower on the football team. And, he told the student paper about some allegations of some hazing that was going on. And the school did an investigation. They find out it's true, or, I guess, excuse me, I don't know if I'm allowed to like legally say that. They investigate the allegations and they give Pat Fitzgerald a 2-week suspension. He's like, I didn't know about any of this. They're like, okay. And now they're coming back. They're like, well, you should know he's probably going to end up getting fired. I actually don't care about the Pat Fitzgerald stuff. That is what it is. It's actually a perfect excuse for Northwestern to get rid of a coach that is clearly failing at this point, and not have to pay the big buyout that I'm sure that he has. What is shocking to me, Aaron, is the hazing itself, where I want to be clear. I'm basically, I have a PhD in homoerotic hazing in that I've experienced both sides of it, at varying levels of homoeroticism. Generally, the most homoerotic was when I was younger, kind of like beginning of high school type stuff. Me and on a spiritual retreat, I may have been a part of a group of people that did a naked Olympics. And then as I got older, it tended to maybe get a bit more like violent, a little less homoerotic, kind of be whatever. So the point is, I'm not someone that's good to talk to about the moral or ethical implications. Is it right or is it wrong? I just want to explore, get in the mindset of these Northwestern players, because in college, their version of hazing, one of the activities they would do consistently was called running people or getting ran. And what this would consist of, according to the newspaper, is around like 12 players putting on purge-like masks and then holding down the player being hazed and dry humping him. And I just have so many questions. I'll start here though. First, Aaron, UGA, did y'all do any hazing? Did you have anything along those lines?
No, we actually did not do any hazing. Actually the only hazing we did, and this actually stopped after my second year because we had a top recruit with Isaiah Crow who had dreads, who essentially told Coach Rick, Crow Dog, Crow, that if he would not commit to Georgia if his hair got cut. So the only hazing, like I remember my freshman year, they one day they would put some weird stuff in your hair, like make some crazy design. You have to wear it for the day to like practice and to the lunchroom and all that good stuff. And then after that, we just shave our heads off. So like that was the extent of hazing, which I said ended after, finally a recruit kind of had the balls to say, no, I'm not going to commit if you make me do this. But I don't get it. I really don't. I don't know. I've just never been a big haze guy. I don't get the whole fraternity thing. Like, especially a football team. Like, why do you want to beat the shit out of your own teammates?
I get hazing because as like a rite of passage thing, right? You want to do the
extreme though. Like something fun and silly.
Look, I'm not specifically speaking of Northwestern right here, but I understand the concept of hazing. Like I get it. Yeah. I've seen as a freshman in high school, right? When like we used to get our ass beat at the football camp, like literally like get down, they would like freeze like rubber sharks and other stuff and just whip the shit out of you. But once you did it, you were then accepted, right? You were kind of into the club, right? So like I've been through these at LSU. At the end of camp, we'd have a jump in day, essentially, where the last day of camp, everybody went to the locker room and it was just a roving band of upperclassmen assaulting the freshmen one by one, but again, more in like a pain sort of way. Nothing over the top, but slapping, maybe a little punching, a little kicking, maybe like a little lift up, whatever. Like naked? Not a big deal. No, maybe yes, maybe no, because it was just in the locker room and when they kind of caught you. But it was kind of self-police, like nothing ever got too crazy. Again, and it was one day, bam, you're in.
Once again, like I'm sure Northwestern has a feeling right now, like I'm sure those kids, a bunch of kids are just like you, who feel like nothing. Like this isn't crazy.
Yes.
This isn't
No, I know, because when you're in it, it doesn't feel weird. So sometimes you need the light.
It did it, but I'm sure there are for other guys that probably did feel a little fucking weird.
I know, but for a lot it doesn't. And all I'm pointing out is the absurd nature of the Northwestern hazing. Sometimes you need the light of normal society shined upon these things, and all of a sudden you're like, guys, what the fuck are we doing?